Hey guys, Ash here from C4E Tech, and a while back I did a time lapse of a 30,000 rupee gaming PC build. Today let's do the what and the why, giving you guys an inside glimpse into the thought process that went behind the cherry picking of these parts for a budget build. So before we start, if you've been waiting for too long, or in case you've just plain old forgotten and given up on PC builds here, my name's Ash and I'm sorry, really sorry for the delay, and let's get started. Starting off right at the deep end, we have the CPU. I went with the 7th generation Pentium G4560. Now this was one of the more controversial decisions. There were a ton of people in the comments going, why not an i3, why Pentium? Now guys, the G4560 costs around 4,800 rupees offline. Remember, in India, as of today, online prices are much higher than offline rates, and for a lot of people, even those of us who buy phones online, we still prefer to buy PC parts off the shelves. So it made absolutely no sense to stick with online pricing, as it's consistently 10 to 20% higher than offline stores. Anyway, offline here in Chennai, like I said, the G4560 cost around 4,800 rupees, whereas the cheapest i3 cost 3,000 rupees more. So what does the extra 3,000 rupees get you? A 10% boost in clock speed and a better integrated GPU. The integrated GPU is of no concern here, since we are using a dedicated GPU, and the marginal increase in computing horses wouldn't make a remarkable difference, especially with gaming, and at least not enough to justify blowing 10% of our budget. Yes, with older generations the difference was more pronounced. The Pentium chips lacked hyper-threading that the i3s brought with them, but with the 7th generation Pentiums, Intel's gone ahead and provided hyper-threading here, closing the performance gap while making the price advantage stick out. Anyway, with the CPU out of the way, we get to the motherboard next. This was another decision that left me kind of between a rock and a hard place. On one hand, I could choose to go with a H110 based board, which might ship with a software niggle, or pay 4,000 rupees extra and get a B250 board. With a budget of 30,000 rupees, I decided to stick with the Gigabyte H110M S2, the same one we used on a 50,000 rupee build. Now what's the software niggle? The H110M S2 does support 7th generation processors, but only after a BIOS update. Now this BIOS update was released in early December 2016, so a good 4 to 5 months back. And we can expect, new boards fresh off the production line to come with the 7th gen support built in, the latest BIOS on it. But if you do end up getting an older board like I did, one with an older BIOS, then you'd have to update the BIOS manually. And to update BIOS manually, you need a CPU that the board supports. And for the board to support our CPU, we need to update the BIOS. You see the issue? It's a cycle. Anyway, I just took one of the last gen CPUs that we have and updated the BIOS. But if you don't have a 6th gen CPU, chances are you might not. Just buy the board from an offline seller, ask him to update the BIOS for you before you buy it. Most stores would be glad to help. Now with the guts settled on, let's turn our attention to this GPU. I went with the Zotac GTX 1050 Ti Mini, an obvious choice for a decent GPU with a tight budget, and Zotac, a reputable name when it comes to graphic cards, managed to sway me by undercutting almost all other 1050 Ti's with the pricing for their Mini. And now for RAM, I decided to go with the Corsair Value Select 2133 MHz 8GB. Just like the last time, I decided to sacrifice dual channel and not go with a couple of 4GB sticks for the sake of future expandability, so we have a free slot if we want to upgrade in the future. When it comes to storage, it's the same 1TB Toshiba 7200 RPM from the last build. It makes a reappearance here. And finally, we get to the case and PSU. Another controversial decision. Oh my god, how can you go with the stock PSU? Oh my god, your rig will burn. Oh my god, you will burn in hell. Yeah, I get all that. Guys, at a budget of 30,000 rupees, there has to be compromises. And in this case, the PCU, bore the brunt of it. The case I went with was the Circle Desire D2. Oops. Anyway, that comes with a 450 watt PSU. Now, generally, stock PSUs like these boast of a much higher rating than what they can sustain, and that's why most of us do not go with them. We buy, dedicated PSUs elsewhere. Here though, we have a locked CPU and a GPU that doesn't even require an external 12-volt power rail. With the maximum load wattage of just about 210 watts, I felt the stock 450 watt PSU can pull its weight without posing any issues for the rest of the system. However, if you're still paranoid, it's not wrong. You can go ahead and get a good Antec or Cooler Master 350 watt PSU. It'll push your budget up a little bit, but if you want it, you can get it. That's cool. So that's it guys for the what and the why. I will be back soon, hopefully in the next 2 weeks, with a build tutorial, and then the gaming and benchmark should follow. So guys, when it comes down to phones versus PC builds, the number of requests I get for smartphone related content are much higher, given that almost all subscribers here subscribe for phone content. That's what we've been covering for the last, for over 5 years now. I love doing PC builds, but given given where we are today, I can't really put a Moto G5 Plus or even an Oppo F3 Plus on hold and do a PC build instead. So I try to finish as much as I can, and in between videos, like say if I have 3 videos I'm working on and something's rendering, I go like, let me write a bit right now, let me finish a little bit of PC stuff, and that's kind of how I've been working on it. I will try to get these videos out faster, but just be patient for a while at least, because once Sundar comes in full time from I guess around June, July, things will get more prompt. Till then, PC builds cannot take top priority, though I will continue sneaking one in from time to time. I know the delay is unacceptable, but the alternative here is for me to put the series on ice like I did with C4E apps and games. But I love PC builds too much to put it on hold. So I hope you can understand and give me, some tiny little bit of leeway. So anyway guys, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And since this is still something new we've been trying, your feedback is very important. So please let me know if there is something you think we could do better, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. If you hated it, go ahead, put it down. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button down below. If you have already subscribed, do this to make sure you get notified each time a new video goes live here on C4E Tech. And thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, this here is Ash. You've been watching C4E Tech. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye now.